Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री राम लक्ष्मण सीता हनुमान जी की जय. Hare Krishna. So we are going to celebrate Sri Ram Navami very soon, and today we are meeting just to share some beautiful pastimes from Ramayana. And why are we doing this? Is of course, to remember the Lord anytime is just a bonus, but we're also trying to get into the mood to celebrate Sri Ram Navami. Yes, we're trying to meditate on Lord Rama, and it's not like ordinarily on birthdays of people like us. It's okay, one day celebration, and we just do something nice and we forget about it. We're just getting older. There's nothing big deal about our birthdays, yes. But when we are celebrating Sri Ram Navami, it is to celebrate the appearance of Lord Ram, to contemplate, to meditate on the reason why he came, to also meditate and contemplate on the message that he gave us through his pastimes, through his life, through his activities. The more we do that, then the closer we come to him, and the closer we come to him, the more we can think of him, remember him. It's real success. It's as simple as that. When we celebrate ordinary birthdays, we are just becoming older. There is no success, really speaking. But when we are celebrating the appearance of Shri Krishna on Janmashtami or Sri Rama on Ram Navami, there is a lot more meaning and significance to it, right? So I'm going to read a verse from Bhagavad Gita. All of you have just completed a 9-session course on Bhagavad Gita, and I hope that this journey that you all have started, we've called it the spiritual highway, isn't it? This highway has to take you to a wonderful destination. You have started your journey, right? You've just started your journey, and we all hope that all of us together, we proceed towards this wonderful destination. So for that, it's not enough that we complete this 9-session course and we feel that, yeah, Bhagavad Gita, okay, I know what's it all about, right? The more we read the Bhagavad Gita, the more we contemplate on its meaning, the more realizations we get and the more we can apply in our own lives. So we are going to read this verse from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse number 9. And you all know that when we read the Bhagavad Gita, first we chant some invocation prayers, right? Like we used to do when we had our regular session. So we'll chant some invocation prayers. Let me see how many of you all remember. I don't know, but try to decide as much as you know. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Ajanulambita bhujau kanakavadato sankirtanaikapitarau kamalayatakshav Vishwambharau dvijavarau yugadharmapalau Vande jagatpriyakarau karunavatarau. Yontah pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptam sanjeevayatyakila shaktidhara swadhamna anyamscha hastacharana shravanatvagadin pranan namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. Hare Krishna. So we are reading this verse 4.9 from the Bhagavad Gita, and you can repeat after me. I will say it in bits. Janma karma cha me divyam Janma karma cha me divyam Evam yo veti tattvataha Evam yo veti tattvataha Tyaktva deham punarjanma Tyaktva deham punarjanma Naiti mameti so Arjuna Naiti mameti so Arjuna Naiti mameti so Arjuna. You can repeat the translation also after me. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. O Arjuna. I remember somebody had asked me this question. Yes, Mataji? You had asked me this question as to, is there a relief from this cycle? And here Krishna is giving the solution very, very clearly. Yes, explicitly. There is no doubt, no ambiguity at all. He's saying, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body. Beautiful purport that His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He is giving this, our founder Acharya of ISKCON, who has given the purports to Bhagavad Gita in such a way that all of us can understand very in very simple language, yet extremely relevant and also profound, not diluting anything. Yes, he has not diluted anything, and simply because his purpose is just one, to take us all closer and closer to Krishna, to understanding Krishna. And today we are going to discuss more about Lord Rama. And I'm still reading this verse from the Bhagavad Gita. So you may wonder, why am I still sticking to Krishna when we are going to speak about Lord Rama? Right? So of course, all of you know that there is a connection. And Krishna, who is the original personality of Godhead, that's how Srila Prabhupada very beautifully describes him. All of us understand, in this verse, it is being said that whoever understands Krishna's birth, Krishna's pastimes as something which are very divine, transcendent. So Krishna uses the word tattvataha, very important, tattva, which means a principle. Right? It's a principle, some principle, not the school principle, the other principle. So when you understand this, or Lord Krishna in principle, it's only then possible to get out of this cycle of birth and death. Sometimes we find that also very kind of far-fetched. We don't think so much, cycle of birth and death, how do I care? Let me solve the problems that I have in my life, right? All I want to know is how to lead a good life. But they're all related. Yes, they're all related. So leading a good life means that you're leading a life not just with good habits, but having a purpose for those good habits. Do you understand? Having good habits is not the goal. There's another goal, and good habits are tools. Do you agree? Right? Just as somebody may want to become wealthy, rich, and money may be the person's goal. But very soon we've seen in these 9 sessions also, we've discussed it over and over again, that may not be a goal which will give the person happiness. It's as simple as that, isn't it? So then money is a tool. Do you agree? Just as any other thing is a tool. And the goal is something else, as explained by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. The goal is somehow or the other come closer to him, to think of him, to remember him. That's the goal. And how we do it? It's like this, when a student has a goal, to achieve whatever, you don't have to sit with the student to say, chalo abhi timetable banate hain. The student will himself or herself do it. The goal has to be very clear for the student. It's just like that for us. Yeah, once this is very clear, then the path, it churns out on its own. How many of you all have heard about Alice in Wonderland? Have you all heard this? All of you have, right? In school, we all have this, right? Alice in Wonderland. And there is a very interesting, situation there where Alice meets this very wise rabbit. Yeah, there is a wise rabbit in that entire story. And Alice, she asks this wise rabbit, she says, which is the way? So the rabbit says, depends on where you want to go. So Alice says, wherever. So the rabbit says, then whichever way. Do you get the point? When Alice says wherever, the rabbit says, then take whichever way you want to, if you want to go wherever. It's like that. If you have the goal, then you know the path. But if you don't know the goal, then how does it matter what path you take? Correct? So here we are trying to, understand that if we have this goal of coming closer to Krishna, to try and understand Him in principle, yes, it's only then that we will get out of this cycle of birth and death. But this is very difficult. It comes in steps. For now, what we understand is far away from what the goal is. In the sense, we want to become servants of love. Correct? We want to develop love for God or love for Krishna, and so love for all, everybody around us. All that is big talk. Correct? That's there. But right now, what are we? We are servants of our own senses. Yeah? We are servants of our own senses. Our mind dictates to us. Nothing else dictates. Yes, our mind dictates how much time should you take on the mobile. Nothing else, nobody else can dictate. Our mind will dictate and our mind will rule. Yeah, just as in the previous session we were just talking that it's impossible to get away from this distraction. We know it's a distraction, but because we are servants. Right now we are servants. So then how do we go from this to this? That's been given by Lord Sri Ram's entire personality, entire all his pastimes. We are saying on the one hand is the love that we are talking about for Krishna. The love that we want to experience, we want to have. But then here we are, servants of our own senses. But the path in between is what? Is to somehow or the other follow rules and regulations. That's why we have certain set rules and regulations. Lord Ram is called as what? Does anybody know? A very famous name for him. Very nice. Maryada Purusha. What does it mean? Yeah, the meaning is a man of what? Virtues of some kind of morals. Absolutely. Yes, he is morality personified. And morals means what? Rules. Which we have a framework, we have a conduct for ourselves. And that's exemplified in Lord Ram's personality. And then in this very chapter, Krishna in the last verse, he says, why aren't we able to go here to this path, to this particular destination of, to somehow or the other develop love for Krishna? All that is so difficult because we have doubts. All of us have doubts. Yes, we have doubts. Like, somebody was asking me just few days ago, Mataji, मैं जपा तो कर रही हूँ पर पता नहीं ये सही है क्या हम लोग करे जा रहे. So it's very natural. We do have these doubts for now, right? And somebody else also asked me that, can it be so simple? Somebody asked me, सिर्फ नाम जपने से. So we do have so many of these doubts. How is it possible to go to such a high destination just by chanting names of Lord Ram or Lord Krishna? Yes. And therefore, these doubts, in order to, somehow or the other kill these doubts, we have to solve these doubts. Kill these doubts doesn't mean suppressing them, right? We have to clarify. We have to clear these doubts. And that is possible only when we start following a certain code of conduct. And Lord Ram is exemplifying this very aspect of our um, our path, our sadhana. Yes, how do we do this? So today we are going to take a few stories from Ramayana, and we'll see how important it is. How did Lord Ram step time and again he showed Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you for the message. So he he uh, he revealed that these doubts, they arise because of what? Can anybody guess? Why do we get these doubts? It's very difficult to guess because it's so hidden. These doubts, they arise because of envy. And it's hard to believe. No. I just have doubts. I don't have envy. But the reason why it is said very clearly, it's explained that the reason why we cannot understand Krishna in principle, tattvataha, is because we have envy in our hearts. Our envy which we project onto everybody else. And Lord Ram, he is, yes.
You said we have doubts because of envy. So, like in the world, there are people who are good. Nobody is bad, but there are people who are, like when we say doctors, some doctors are very good, and some might not be. So, is it not right to have a doubt that time to verify, or we should believe blindly?
No, you should never believe blindly. That's what I know. When I'm saying
That envy then.
no. I'm not saying that you should not have doubts. Right? Doubts are natural. Just as much as envy is already there in our hearts. It's hard to accept it. Yeah, we feel that, oh, I'm free from envy. So maybe I'm not talking about you, or maybe some of you are very fortunate, very blessed not to have any envy in your hearts. But the point is that we doubt what? We're not talking about doctors, we're talking about doubting this principle, this tattva, this understanding that, oh, just by hearing Krishna's names, Krishna's pastimes, I can actually get rid of my birth and death, this cycle, and come closer to Krishna. What Krishna is saying in this verse. Yeah, what is Krishna saying? That just one who knows this transcendental nature of my birth and my activities does not, leaving upon this body, come back to this material world, but he will come to me. This is a statement that Krishna is making, and the moment we doubt it, which we will, which I'm saying it's very natural, because we haven't even identified the envy in our hearts. The envy is maybe very, very subtle. Yes, sometimes very obvious, sometimes very subtle, but the truth is that it is natural. The truth is that it is there in all of us. And we go from there and we say that, yeah, I want to clarify that doubt. I have a doubt and I have to clarify that doubt. I'm not going to suppress it. Yes, I should not suppress that doubt. I must try and remove that doubt. And how? That's precisely what Krishna is explaining here in this chapter, in the last verse which I just mentioned. He says that you have this doubt you have to get rid of. How? Through developing more and more knowledge, more and more understanding, which comes only in the gathering of devotees, by reading more of Bhagavad Gita. Yes, by coming closer to not just Krishna, in the form of his deity. Yes, very, very important. We take darshan, but also we do a lot of shravana. We hear. That's what Krishna is advising us. Does that satisfy you to some extent? हाँ बिल्कुल बोल सकते हो, मेरे को भी हिंदी आती है. हाँ सही है, वो सही है. होना नहीं होना चाहिए से अच्छा है कि डाउट यदि है बहुत दिनों तक नहीं टिकता. That doesn't last long, right? So then sometime you might feel that you are just suppressing, and one day it might explode. Clarify my doubts, correct? So Lord Ram, yes.
Instead of envy, can we say that it is lack of faith or something, or lack of trust?
That is also envy. Why do we not have faith? Because we feel we are better. Is it not?
Can we say ignorance?
So ignorance is precisely what we are talking about. Ignorance in the sense that we do not even, wait to find out what is it. Why? Because we feel we know everything. Envy again. Yes, pride, envy, these are all very related. When you're proud, you're obviously envious. Or you're envious, you're proud. Either one. But let's see. Let's talk about Lord Sri Ram's pastimes and try and understand this better as to how this envy is so deep in our hearts, which is actually stopping us from coming closer to Sri Ram or to Krishna. So we all know Ramayana, we know we have a background. We know that it was just time for Lord Ram's coronation. Dasharath, he suddenly announced कि कल मेरा पुत्र राम राजा बनेगा. Correct? He just announced this. He just wanted Lord Ram's coronation to happen the very next day. Everybody was happy, jubilant. Everybody was happy, except for one lady. Who was that? Mantara. Yes. Why? Mantara, we know she was not happy because she was the servant of Kaikeyi. She was the nurse of Kaikeyi. We all know Dasharath had these three wives. Yes, Kausalya, Kaikeyi and Sumitra. And Kausalya was the oldest among the three, whose son was Lord Ram. And then was Kaikeyi, whose son was Bharat. And then was Sumitra, who had twins, Bharat and Shatrugna. We all know this. Lakshmana and Shatrugna, sorry. So then what happened? This Mantara was Kaikeyi's servant, or she was her nurse, and she was extremely angry. And she went to Kaikeyi and she said that she actually shook her up and she said, "Do you know what's going on?" And Kaikeyi said, "What happened to you suddenly?" Says, "Do you know what is going on? Tomorrow Ram is going to become the king." And Kaikeyi was super happy. She became so happy. She said, "Is it?" And she took out the best necklace that she had and she gave it to Mantara and she said, "This for the good news that you have given me." She was so happy. Now Mantara was actually a hunchback. Yes, Kaikeyi was the dearmost queen of Dasharath. And therefore, because Mantara was Kaikeyi's servant, she had some status among all the servants. Some status होता है. She had some status there, thinking that I am the favorite queens. Now, Mantara was getting insecure. Her envy was outrightly open like that. What did she do? She started fueling Kaikeyi's envy. Why? Because there was one little spark there. तभी हम लोगों को fuel कर सकते हैं. When there is a little bit spark. Immediately Kaikeyi's response was what? She was so thrilled that Ram is, because she loved Ram as her own son. In fact, more. She used to actually pray and tell openly that I will all my austerities, I am doing only so that in my next birth maybe I will get a son, Ram. I'll get Ram as my son. She used to pray like this. That's how much she loved him. But Mantara, what did she say? She said that now you're Dasharath's favorite queen, but when Ram becomes the king, Kausalya will become the chief queen. And what will be left of you? You will probably become some maid servant, like in the palace. You will be having no importance at all. And now Kaikeyi started thinking, because this spark was there. And when she started listening more, she's rejected all of Manthara's arguments. Then Manthara said, "You see, why is your son Bharat not here? Why is Dasharath announcing this when your son Bharat is not here?" Bharat and Shatrughna, they were not there. They had gone to Kaikeyi's parents' place. And at that time, saying, why such urgency? Why does Dasharath have to announce it tomorrow? Why is Janak Maharaj, so far he cannot even come tomorrow? He's not waiting for that also. Why is he doing it in all such hurry when your son is not here? There has to be something. She agreed. Now Kaikeyi said, "Oh, you are my well-wisher." Suddenly, from her husband, who used to love her with all her heart, she rejected. And she accepted somebody who was full of envy. So this is what envy can do to you. What happened? Kaikeyi became far away from Lord Ram. Simple as that. Was so close to the Lord, she became so far away from him. In just few minutes of talk. That's how dangerous it is to listen to people who are envious. And then what Manthara said? She reminded her of the 2 boons that she had to ask from Dasharath. She said, "You have those 2 boons. Ask now." She said, "What should I ask?" Ask. Bharat should become the king. I said, yeah, I'll ask. And the next boon you should ask to send Ram, banish him to the forest. Manthara said, Kaikeyi said, but why? Why should he be banished? Bharat will become the king, no? He says, no. Don't take that chance. If Ram is close by, everybody here in Ayodhya loves Ram. They will not be able to tolerate. Send him away. So we know what happened. Yes. So we know what happened, how Kaikeyi's heart completely changed, became hard like one rock, and she sent away Lord Ram along with Mother Sita and Lakshmana to the forest. But now comes a very important character of Ramayana, who we don't talk about him so much. He is love personified. That is Bharat. He is an extraordinary character of Ramayana. Bharat, when he comes back, immediately so Dasharath, we know, in separation of his son, he died, right? He just left his body, he couldn't tolerate anymore. And Bharat got this news. They sent him a telegram, and he was on his way back, and when he was coming back, he saw Ayodhya was all plunged in sorrow. So he knew something is wrong. He didn't know what exactly had happened. He went straight to his mother. He went straight to his mother. He first saw all this gloomy situation and went straight to his mother. And what did his mother say? She said, Bharat, I have good news for you. You are going to become the king. Bharat didn't even listen to that. It didn't even go into his ears. He said, what happened here? Why are you like this? What happened to our father? And then she said, yes, your father passed away because he could not tolerate Ram being sent to the forest. To Bharat, this came down as one thunderbolt. He crushed. He said, what are you saying? Why is my Ram, my brother Ram, why is he in the forest? Then Kaikeyi said, no, your father sent away Ram to the forest and he asked you to become the king. And Bharat said, how did you even think that I will want to become the king? How did you even think that the envy that is in your heart is in my heart? He said, I am ashamed to call you as my mother. He was so hurt. And he said, I cannot stay a moment here anymore. And he just walks out of that room and straight away goes to Kausalya because he wants to see Kausalya, in what situation she would be. And when he goes to Kausalya, Kausalya says, come Bharat, now you have no barrier. You can become the king. And Bharat crushes again. He says, Mother Kausalya, you too? You also think that I wanted to become the king? How could you think like this? How could you think that I will reject Ram and become the king? How is it even possible? Why are you thinking like this? Please, please come, let's go right now and bring back Lord Ram. This was Bharat's situation. And Mother Kausalya was a little pacified. She said, Bharat, you really want to bring back your brother? He said, I'll give up my life if you don't believe me. Please come right now. So all of them, they head towards the forest to bring back Lord Ram. And Bharat says, we will go with all our horses and elephants and everything. We'll bring back our Lord Ram. He will come back sitting on Mother Sita. How could Mother Sita go with him? And then they start marching towards the forest. When Guha, have you heard of Guha?
The boatman.
Boatman who was a devotee of Lord Ram, and he was kind of protecting. He was seeing, and he sees this huge army come from that side, and he immediately understands this is Bharat. He has come with his army to kill Lord Ram. He goes straight to Bharat, and he says, you have to first kill me, and then only you can see Ram. Then you can fight Ram. Bharat folds his hand and says, why will I fight Lord Ram? Who are you? And Guha says, I am safeguarding, I am security for Lord Ram. And Bharat said, Bharat, wants to hug him, embrace him, touch his feet. He says, thank you. You have been taking care of my brother. Then Guha understands what Bharat has in mind. And he says, okay, then I will show you where Lord Ram is. And he directs him the way. And then when the army starts coming closer and deeper into the forest, Lord Ram sees there is a lot of chaos going on. Suddenly all the animals are running helter-skelter because the army is coming that side. And he tells Lakshmana, please go and see what's going on. Climb up this tree and see what's going on. So Lakshman, he climbs up the tree and he sees Bharat marching with the entire army. He climbs down and he says, brother, immediately take Mother Sita into the cave and come with your arrow and bow. We are going to fight Bharat. There we go again. It says, here is Bharat. He is coming with the entire army and I know what he has come for. He wants to finish you. He wants no trace of you left so that he can always rule Ayodhya. And Lord Ram looks at him and he smiles and says, I know my Bharat. Lakshmana, if you want to become the king, you can go right now and Bharat will stay with me. You go become the king of Ayodhya. Bharat will stay with me. And Lakshmana was so ashamed. He says, let Bharat come. Bharat will never do anything like that. I know how dear I am to him. He is equally dear to me. That's Bharat. But Lakshmana also suspected Bharat. Why? Because we project our envy onto everybody else. Our envy that is in our heart, we project that to everybody else. And therefore it becomes so difficult to come close to Krishna, come close to God. But Sri Ram understood what was in the heart of Bharata. And when, of course, we know when Bharata came, how he felt after seeing Lord Ram, how he wanted to take back Lord Ram back to Ayodhya. But we know Sri Ram is Maryada Purusha. He said, no, I have given my word to my father. I will not do it. I will not come. How? Of course, he is in grief because he has lost his father. But he wouldn't go back, return to Ayodhya. And what does Bharat do to this? He says, he looks at Lord Ram. He says, he gets to know this from Guha. Guha, when, tells him that when Lord Ram came, we decided to arrange a big feast for him here, all forest dwellers, all of us together. But Lord Ram said, no, I am banished. I cannot eat a feast. All I will do is eat fruits and roots, whatever I can get from this forest. That's all I am eligible now. That's all I can do. So Bharat says, today onwards, I will not eat anything apart from roots and fruits. He removes his own royal clothes. He ties his hair like a jata. And what is more very amazing, he knows Ram with Mother Sita, they sleep on the ground. Right? On the ground in the forest. So what does Bharat do? He digs the ground and he says, I'll sleep lower than him. There is nothing that I can do more than him. For 14 years, Bharat, what he ate? Barley soaked in cow urine. We can't even imagine. Just barley soaked in cow urine. This is what he used to eat. That is how he used to sleep. But he kept Lord Ram's footwear on the throne and he worshipped and reported every day to those slippers of Lord Ram. He expanded the kingdom 4 times, which means what? He was doing his job as a king perfectly, knowing fully well that this is Sri Ram's kingdom. Ayodhya is Sri Ram's kingdom. How can I neglect that responsibility? That was Bharat. And that's how he was so dear to Lord Ram. Now we know, we know that Mother Sita was kidnapped. When Ravana took her away, because of this, he started chasing this magical deer. Yes, very very golden deer. Maricha, who had taken this form of a deer. We know this story, but there is a very interesting episode that happens here, which is in relation to how Lakshmana treated Bharata, how he projected his envy onto Bharata, or he suspected Bharata of envy. What happens is when Lord Ram chases this deer, and in a few minutes, he has told Lakshmana to take care of Mother Sita, isn't it? He says, don't leave her and come. You just take care of her. I'm going after this deer. But in some time, they hear this loud voice saying, "Help! Help! Lakshmana! Oh Sita!" They hear this. I'm going to die. And Sita is totally devastated. She says, Lakshman, go. Go immediately. Ram is calling. Your brother is calling. Please go immediately. And Ram says, no, this is not my brother Ram. You don't worry. Lord Ram has given me the instruction to stay here and protect you. I will do only that. I will not go. And you know what Mother Sita says? She says something which will shatter our hearts. She says, I know. 13 years you have been waiting for this. You have been waiting for Lord Ram to be killed so that you can be with me. She says this to Lakshmana. And Lakshmana, you can imagine what would have gone through him. You don't know who is Lakshmana. For all 14 years, do you know Lakshmana did not sleep for a minute? He did not sleep for all 14 years. During the day, he would take care of them by providing them with what they want, the fruits, this, that, all that. And in the night, he would guard them. Because they were in the forest throughout. That was Lakshmana. So how his heart would have completely, shattered at Mother Sita's statement. Why? Because he had to face what he did to Bharata. He suspected Bharata of coming for a war. Now what are we trying to discuss here? What are we trying to discuss here is simply that how important it is to think before we speak. how important it is not to project our envy upon others, not to jump our guns like that, not to jump and say anything about anybody, especially those who have taken shelter of Krishna. So dangerous it is. Lakshmana runs to protect. Who can protect Sri Ram? Yes. But he goes by the instruction of Mother Sita, and then we know Mother Sita gets kidnapped. Now you think there is one more which is even more shattering than this. What did Mother Sita do? She said something like this to Lakshmana. She gets her reaction also. How? When after Lord Ram, he wins the battle, all that kills Ravana, everybody is dead. What does he say to Mother Sita? Oh, okay. Now you come through the fire. Otherwise I cannot accept you. All 14 years he has cried for her. All 14 years. And now what does he say? Come through the fire. Why? Because she caused Lakshmana to burn by her harsh statements. Now please remember that they are not people like you and me, right? All these characters, they are, Lord Ram we are talking about, Mother Sita we are talking about, or Lakshmana or Bharata we are talking about. They are all there in the Ramayana to give us this big lesson, one after the other. Right? So nobody can escape from reactions when we speak harshly to anybody. And that's the middle phase or stage that we are talking about. We are servants of our senses, and here is love for Krishna. There is big phase to pass. And this stage is when we learn to follow a certain code of conduct, especially the way we speak. And that's the way we speak depends on the way we live, isn't it? All our habits. That's a big lesson from the Ramayana, which it has a fund of lessons for us. And this episode and this character specifically, I thought that we must discuss today, just so that we understand how Lord Ram, through his personality and through his activities at every step, he told us, be careful, be careful. Be careful if you want to go and achieve this highest destination. It's not easy, but it's possible. Yes, it's not out of reach, it's possible. But follow the rules and regulations in the association of devotees. Not to be fanatic about the rules and regulations like that, but to understand that how we behave, how we conduct ourselves is exactly in proportion to how closer we can get to Krishna. How soon we can come closer and closer to Krishna. Right? There is another very short story that I will tell you, and on the same lines from the Ramayana, which gives a big lesson on how we conduct ourselves. So this is in the Uttarakanda after Lord Ram is back and he's ruling Ayodhya, and at that time he tells Lakshmana, go see if everybody is happy in the kingdom or not. I just want to ensure that everybody in my kingdom, every single living entity is happy. That's why we call Ramarajya, isn't it? Which we are hankering for. There is no way we'll get back Ramarajya. Yeah, we have here politicians doing so much of. Anyways, never mind. So we have Lakshmana. He says, "Okay, I'll go," and he goes around and he sees everybody is happy, and he comes back and reports, "Everybody is so peaceful." Lord Ram says, "No, go back and check again." Somehow Lord Ram was feeling that there is something. And Lakshmana says, okay, let me go check again. Goes to every nook and corner. And suddenly he hears a dog crying. And he says, in the kingdom of Lord Ram, who is this living entity that's crying? It's just a dog. We wouldn't have cared a damn. But Lakshmana goes to this dog and he sees that this dog is bleeding. And there's little blood on the head of this dog. So he says, "What happened to you?" And he says, "I want to speak to the great King Ram, who is known to be so just. But I am such a lowly creature. How can I go in front of the king, Lord Ram?" Lakshmana says, No. Lord Ram has ordered me that anybody who is not happy, you bring that person to me, bring that living entity to me. So now you please come. You don't hesitate. So the dog goes to Lord Ram and says, Lord Ram looks at the dog and says, "Who did this to you? Why are you bleeding? How can anybody dare to harm you like this?" And the dog says, This Brahmana who was walking on the road, he threw this stone at me. And Lord Ram immediately asks his soldiers to summon that Brahmana. This Brahmana? How can a Brahmana do this? So this Brahmana is summoned, he comes. And Lord Ram says, "Explain, what happened?" And this Brahmana says, "It was really late in the afternoon. I was very hungry. I was rushing home after a bath in the river to have my lunch. And this dog here was walking so slowly in front of me. My anger I couldn't control. I picked a stone and I threw it at him. Now you can do what you want." So the Brahmana has surrendered and he says, "Okay, now you can punish me." So Lord Ram looks at his ministers. Lakshmana is furious at the Brahmana. And Lord Ram says, "Hold on." And he asks, everybody thinks, how to punish a Brahmana? In the Vedic culture, a Brahmana is not, punished like that so easily. So he's wondering what to do. And Lord Ram, he looks at the dog and he says, "What punishment do you want to give? You give." So the dog says, "Make him the head priest of this big temple." So Lord Ram smiles and he says, "Okay, Brahmana, come here." And he puts a shawl around him and says, "Now onwards, you're the head priest of this temple." And the Brahmana goes back smiling. He says, "Very nice. I'm the head priest now. Thank you very much." And he goes. And the rest of them, they are shocked. He says, "What is this? What kind of justice is this? This is not fair." So Ram again smiles and he looks at the dog and he says, "You explain." So the dog explains. He says that in my previous birth, I was the head priest of this temple. I don't even know what mistake I committed that I was born as a dog. Because being the head priest is full of responsibilities. This Brahmana, he is ruled by anger. So what he will do as a head priest, we can only imagine. He will invite all problems onto himself. If I can become a dog, only Ram can protect him. Right? So this was the perfect justice that Lord Ram taught us. How important it is. How important it is to follow the rules and regulations in the sense of the code of conduct, which was exemplified by the life of Bharata. Yes, how important it is to have good speech, not to project our envy onto everybody else, to try and rid ourselves of this envy. And the only way to rid ourselves of envy is to all the time be in close association of devotees who keep Krishna in the center, who keep Bhagavad Gita in the center. Only then it's possible. Otherwise, it's always me in the center, isn't it? I want to be praised as even a good mother, good teacher, good friend, good this, good that, everything, good employee of the year award. Yes, 5 times in a row I want. That's what it is. We will never keep Sri Ram in the center. So let's meditate on this and let's all celebrate Sri Ram Navami by taking this very simple decision, a vow, saying that I will come closer by to devotees, hear more from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And that's my suggestion and request to all of you, that don't stop this process that you all have begun. You've started a process, right? Some of you came for few classes, quarter, half, whatever. Continue that. It's a journey. And Krishna very nicely says in the Bhagavad Gita, Neha bhikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. He says, on this path, there is no loss, no diminution. On this path, swalpamapyasya dharmasya, even if you do little on this path, trayate mahato bhayat, it will protect you from big danger. And what's that big danger? Can anybody guess? What could be that big danger? Death is everywhere for everybody.
Cycle of birth and
It's there for everybody, yes. Big cycle, what is the most dangerous thing? To be born into a species of life that cannot take Krishna's names, that cannot remember Krishna. That's the most dangerous thing. To be born as some animal and not being able to chant his names, not being able to read the Bhagavad Gita, not being able to honor prasadam in the association of devotees, sing and dance and kirtan. Yes, that's the biggest danger. And to be away from that danger somehow or the other, please try to connect yourselves with devotees. And we have this very systematic, because we know all of us are living in the same world, right? None of us are living in Golok and come visit here. We don't live in Vaikuntha, so we can visit here once in a while. We know the challenges of this world. It's so difficult, right? All of us have work issues and stress issues and different kinds of bad company that we have, association habits, all that. And therefore, we have a regular system of connecting you all to devotees. Right? So there's a concept of Bhakti Vriksha. We have a Bhakti Vriksha concept in ISKCON where we say you connect to a tree. Tree has lots of branches, so you can connect to any one branch. So it's like a Bhakti Vriksha which has many branches. You connect yourself to any branch depending on what's convenient for you, which is closer for you. Come every week like you were coming to somebody's house now. Yeah, not the center maybe, but somebody's house which is closer to you. And there you all read Bhagavad Gita, you all of you together honor prasadam, and you all share with each other. You open your heart with somebody you develop trust in. Dasharatha, he decided to coronate Lord Ram in such hurry, right? He said just tomorrow. Why? He was in great anxiety. You know why he was in great anxiety? Because all of us know he was cursed. What was the curse? Does anybody know? You know, right? The curse? What was the curse? Yes. He will also die because of separation from his son. Why? And who cursed this? Shravan Kumar's father. Because Dasharath had by mistake killed this innocent boy Shravan Kumar. And Shravan Kumar's father, he curses him. And while cursing him, you know what Shravan Kumar's father says? Very profound statement he makes. He says that I am cursing you so that you get rid of your sin. First reason. You have done a very wrong thing. By cursing you, I am freeing you from the sin. And two, I am venting out my own anger. That's very important. But Dasharath, after he got the curse, he had not told this to anybody, including Kausalya. Nobody knew about it. Only on the last day of his life, when he was going to die, he tells this, that I was destined to die because I am cursed. And this anxiety was killing him. And therefore he did this, he didn't think that anxiety got to such a level. I heard, very nicely in a class, I heard this, that because of this anxiety, he did not even think of anything. He did not think that Bharat is not there, Shatrugna is not there, or, I cannot invite Sita's father Janak for Ram's coronation. Nor did he think that, when I give this, when KK is angry, what boons, how should I... He didn't think of anything. When we are in anxiety, we make all mistakes. And why do we get in anxiety? Because we keep suppressing everything into our heart. We don't confide into somebody. It's very important. We all know that when we share, we feel so light, right? But when it comes now to spiritual lives, we become little more, kind of we hide things because we feel that we're being judged. Yeah, we feel that oh, मैं non-veg खा रही हूँ करके बता दिया तो पता नहीं ये लोग क्या करेंगे, मेरे को allow ही नहीं करेंगे, something like that, right? Which is not right. Which is not right at all. I know of so many friends who said that Mataji, for such a long time I couldn't give up tea, coffee. That's okay. Slowly, right? Eventually we will. But the point is that you should find somebody with whom you can share these things. You can really, and that is why this Bhakti Vriksha becomes very important. You need to have somebody with whom you can share your challenges, your problems. Otherwise, you have Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, or whatever that is, you can only highlight your success. All success stories only come up there. Anybody has written fired from this LinkedIn update, fired or lost job? Nobody updates that. We only update publish this and hired there and becoming a manager here, right? But devotees are for posting the other things. They are for that. So connect with them, right? So Varsha Mataji will tell you that we have, especially for this group of, your young girls and even Matajis, we have 2 groups. Varsha Mataji will announce very soon. You will announce after the japa. Okay, so it's time for japa already. So thank you very much. If you had any comments or questions, do we have time, Varsha Mataji? 5 minutes. You have any questions when they distribute the chanting beads, you may ask. And yes.
I have a doubt. I don't know whether this is. I may be overthinking. So, in the discussion today that we had, Lakshmana had to undergo that burn because he had envy towards Bharata. Similarly, Sita Maya also had to go through the fire because she said something harsh towards Lakshmana. Now, why did Lord Rama had to go through all the hardships? Because he was very virtuous. He was doing everything where others had to follow him. Instead of that, in spite of being like that, why did Lord Rama had to undergo all the hardships?
Yeah. So if you see Lord Ram, I know, this is a natural question that we would ask, but one has to understand the position of Lord Ram. Yes, so he is orchestrating or directing this entire drama.
That I understood, but
He is the director. So in as much as he is directing and in as much as he is a part of it also, he is a director come actor. Here, isn't it? He is playing both roles. So he will have to face that, but he had a purpose. Through his life he showed. Right? Through his life he showed that, and he has given them all of these roles to play, that you have to show what happens if, and if you see why he had to go through all this. So Lord Ram very nicely shows that he didn't really go through any of this. In the sense, towards the end, when Mother Sita has left, and or even when the washerman comes and accuses Mother Sita again, the fact that Lord Ram could just decide to send away Mother Sita shows his level of detachment, shows that he was very, very composed, shows that he was beyond all this, right? Each time he did anything, for example, even after, like I said, after 14 years of being away from Mother Sita, crying all the time and making so much effort to bring her back, he said, now you have to go through the fire. So that's a big statement which is being made by Lord Ram as to who he is, tattvataha, what is his tattva, right? He may have gone through a lot, but he still remains aloof in the sense that he has come here for a purpose, and he had to show it through his own life and through all the characters around him, that morality is very important, values are very important, rules and regulations are very important, and then finally you will be able to come closer to him, closer to Krishna, or the Lord, the principle of Bhagavan. Yes? Yeah, Ramayana is not so. It's very difficult to digest a few things. Very difficult to digest. But when we understand Lord Ram's position, when we accept him through Guru, that's why we need Guru to explain to us that look here, Lord Ram is Lord Ram. Yes, he is not just King Ram. Right? So, yeah. It's okay. Any other questions? Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, what we discussed today is we saw that Sita said certain words to Lakshman, and Lakshman was envy towards Bharat. So, how do such things happen when they are serving Lord since time immemorial, like since a long time, like through many kalpas they are serving Lord, right? So, envy and all these things what we have in our mind, like jealousy, anger towards other. So they've been serving Lord since long time. So how could these things touch to them?
Correct.
And again, I couldn't understand it. Like maybe if because they are Jeeva Tattva, so that's why they are bewildered. And one more thing we discussed today is that when we are in the process of bhakti, so we are saved from biggest danger. So this is the biggest danger for them also, no? How these things are happening? I'm not getting that.
So Prabhupada gives a very nice example. He says, when a mother-in-law wants to teach her daughter-in-law, she teaches her daughter. Think about this statement. When she wants to tell something to the daughter-in-law, she tells the daughter loudly. Yes? Daughter को कुछ भी बोलो, कुछ फर्क पड़ेगा? But daughter-in-law को बोलो तो daughter-in-law के कान ऐसे खड़े होते हैं. Right? So it's very delicate, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship. So what I'm trying to say here is, Krishna is only teaching us, Lord Ram is teaching us through all of these characters, who are his devotees eternally. There is no way that there can be any blemish in them. There is no blemish in them. Just as Arjuna here, he acts as if, he has lost it. He has been with Krishna throughout, through and through. They're friends. Right? But what happens to him on the battlefield? Gandivam samsrite hastat vakchaiva paridahyate nacha shaknome avasthatum bhramati vacha me manaha. Yes, he became totally bewildered. That's again to teach us. Bhagavad Gita kaise aata? Right? So similar, there are many, many examples like this where we have a devotee of Krishna or Lord Ram who have to showcase us what happens to you, to us, to all of us, and how do we respond to it. Yes? How should we respond? How should we remember the instruction given by Lord? Correct? Anything else?
I just have to say, to everybody, a lot of questions coming up from this, but I think bhakti and Gyan both are important because now when I'm connected with ISKCON and otherwise, people will ask you that why Katha has done this. But there are reasons why Katha are so embarrassed, and one of them was that she knew that only Ram can kill Ravan. So I think Bhakti and Gyan both are important. By coming here, knowing more and more about Krishna, knowing why stories has happened and what is the reason behind it. And if we have Gyan, then only we will be able to, spread that Gyan among others. Because when you start talking about Krishna or Rama, people will say, okay, you are a follower of Rama. So why this happened or why that happened? So you should know why that happened. So I think, please correct me, is Bhakti sufficient or Bhakti and Gyan?
No, there is Bhakti and Gyan or Karma, all of these, when so let's understand this very clearly, that there are two kinds of Gyan that we are talking about here. Yes? So this Gyan that you are saying, any knowledge or any karma activity that is helping us go closer to Krishna is Bhakti. So that Gyan that you are talking about is also Bhakti. Right? So the karma that you may not have talked about, but even the actions that we do which may ordinarily be considered as ordinary actions, which will entangle you more and more in karma. But that also becomes bhakti if it is for Krishna. Right? So this gyan that you're mentioning, where you come to know more about Bhagavad Gita, you're trying to understand it properly, that's bhakti. That's not gyan. Right? What is gyan? The other kind of gyan that we may talk about is that which is not helping us coming closer to Krishna. Right? Anything that's helping us coming close is bhakti. Do you agree? And if anybody also wants to share anything from your 9 sessions that happened, please share. Yes, I've seen some of you so regular. Then this first session, after the first session, I spoke to you. Do you want to share anything? Please pass the mic, Monica.
So I attended 6 sessions regularly, and then after that I went home. And I attended the last session, and so the last means total 7, and it was on my spiritual path. I felt like okay, I have like that spark is enlightened, and now I just need to I need to water the plant regularly. Right. So that because we keep forgetting when we are here, and the most important thing I learned was whatever we you told, most of the things I think everyone knows, but
exactly.
But the main thing is we don't implement. So that is one thing which I felt, and being good to everyone, that is something. If everyone knows, then life is not going to be so much of a problem.
Thank you very much. She made a very important statement saying that whatever is discussed here, we already know. And that's true. You know why? It's the soul that's speaking. The soul can immediately connect to it. Says, we know this, isn't it? It's the truth. Because it's the truth. The soul is verifying. It's the truth. Whatever is there in the Bhagavad Gita is the truth. Thank you.
Mataji, I have one question that is little strange. I don't know whether to
Doesn't
ask.
matter.
So, like you said, in the first verse you shared from the Bhagavad Gita about the transcendental nature of Krishna, that we how much ever we do bhakti, we'll get close to Krishna, and then we can be in that abode and we can get away with this materialistic world. But what if we don't want to get away? I want to be in that cycle, but not so many problems, but with more love, and I again coming back to the same family, and being that way connected. So what if someone wants that?
Nice question. Some children ask me this question.
Because I know it is a strange
No,
question.
it's not strange. It's a very innocent question. Because like I said, some children do ask me this question. In fact, my own son says this, many times. So what? I will be with you all. How many ever births it takes, right? So children often feel like this. So sometimes this innocence may be very naive, right? Yeah, naivety is not innocence. Naivety means that we probably are not acknowledging the fact that there is a lot of risk attached to this. Risk in what sense? That you don't know when your consciousness can be destroyed. Correct. In how there are so many dangers here waiting, so many temptations here, which may take us away from Krishna, and it may take longer and longer like that. We may go farther and farther away. Having said that, there are acharyas also who say that I don't mind coming here again and again and again, but if I can be engaged in your devotional service, if I can engage in preaching, yes, if I can help other living entities, then I don't want to come back. But this is a very high elevated prayer by Prahlad Maharaj. Yeah, Bhakta Prahlad, you have all heard, yes, of who got, because of him, a 5-year-old boy, Lord Nrsimhadev came. Yes, so we can imagine who he is, what his devotion would be. And he says that I don't want to come back. I don't mind being here. He can say that. Yes? I mean, I'm talking about just being aware of this. It doesn't matter. Don't have to think about that so much. That's why I don't focus so much on, breaking the cycle of birth and death, or, thinking of that all the time. What we have to think is only developing attachment for Krishna. That's all. Going back to Godhead is just an outcome, fallout. ठीक है, that's okay. That will. But what's more important is being attached to Krishna, developing love for Krishna. That's the goal. Yes, वै पुंसां परो धर्मो यतो भक्तिर अधोक्षजे अहैतुकी अप्रतिहता ययात्मा सुप्रसीदति. Such a beautiful verse. That's our dharma. What is our dharma? Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshate. We want to develop bhakti for Krishna. And how is that bhakti? Ahaituki apratihata. It's no motive and it's undisturbed. No motive. Yes.
Thank you very much. Hare
कभी कभी जब करना
कभी कभी जब कर पाते हैं, कभी कभी नहीं कर पाते हैं, तो रेगुलर नहीं है. तो कुछ ऐसा है क्या कि सुबह जल्दी नहीं उठ पाते हैं, बहुत जल्दी, तो कुछ ऐसा है क्या कि सुबह 6:30 to 7:30 जब कर लें, ऐसे कुछ?
हाँ, अच्छा होता है जब हम लोग सुबह सुबह उठ के जब करते
हाँ,
हैं.
तो कुछ ऐसा है क्या कि आपका प्रोग्राम होता है ऑनलाइन जूम पे?
हाँ होता है. आई विल गेट यू इन टच विथ एक ऑनलाइन जपा सेशन है where there are lots of people who join every morning and they all chant together Zoom पे. तो वो भगवान के अच्छे अच्छे पिक्चर्स आते रहते हैं और बहुत सारे भक्त ऑनलाइन चांट करते हैं. आपको यदि वहाँ ज्वाइन करना है
कोशिश कर सकते हैं पर कर नहीं पा रहे हैं, वही लैकिंग पॉइंट है. जैसे भगवद गीता मैंने खुद से पूरी पढ़ ली है,
बहुत बढ़िया है.
तो वो छोटे बुक्स भी पढ़ी हैं, लेकिन जब नहीं हो पाता है.
हाँ, तो वही है कि थोड़ा हमको पुश चाहिए होता है हमेशा, है ना. वी नीड समबडी टू हैंड होल्ड अस.
मतलब जब में
जब में नहीं, आप ही नहीं, मैं भी वीक हूँ. ऑल ऑफ अस आर struggling to chant, but we should chant. We should make some determination, and that helps when we are with people who are determined. है ना, जो जिनमें वो दृढ़ता है या दृढ़ संकल्प करा हुआ है, उन लोगों ने बहुत रेगुलरली कर रहे हैं, उनके साथ संग करो, सहवास करिए, तो वो ठीक हो जाता है थोड़ा बहुत. सो आई विल गेट यू इन टच विद दैट ग्रुप. ओके, यू प्लीज कम एंड लेट मी. और ये कोई कमेंट्स हैं?
Actually, I joined the session at the end only. So I have a question that you told कि हम हमारा growth share कर देते हैं, online share करते हैं, offline share करते हैं, सभी को जाते हैं, हाँ ये हो गया. We share our growth, but we won't share our.
We need that because you know online there are a lot of people watching.
Okay, so as you told कि we share our growth, but we won't share our failure, ठीक है? So basically मुझे ये जानना है, मैं भी ऐसी हूँ, मैं growth होगा तो मैं share कर दूँगी.
सब हम लोग ऐसे हैं.
Exactly, but failure होगा तो I sit in a corner and cry a lot. So the thing is कि वो guts हम कहाँ से लाए जहाँ हम growth भी share करें और failure भी share करें.
See, so failure share करना मैं नहीं बोल रही हूँ कि आप LinkedIn पे post करो. I am not telling you that. Definitely. What I am saying is you definitely need a network of people who you trust, है ना. And इसको दो levels पे देख सकते हैं. एक ऐसा देख सकते हैं कि ठीक है मेरे friends हैं बहुत, you know, somebody or even one or two I have, जिसके साथ मैंने ये failures अपने share कर लिए. But मेरा कहना ये नहीं था. मेरा कहना ये था कि हम शेयर कर लें, लेकिन ऐसे लोगों से जो हमें उन फेलियर्स के पीछे और भी ज़्यादा हमें समझाए, उसमें इंसाइट्स दे, जीवन के बारे में और बताए हमें. करेक्ट. एंड दैट्स नॉट पॉसिबल व्हेन यू शेयर विद समबडी हु देमसेल्व्स डोंट नो. अब उनको ही अगर नहीं मालूम है तो वो क्या बताएंगे आपको. थोड़ा दो चार अच्छी बातें करेंगे और आपको लगेगा ठीक है हो गया, बट दोबारा. तो इसीलिए भगवद गीता में इंट्रोडक्शन में बहुत अच्छे तरीके से प्रभुपाद जी समझाते हैं कि जब हम लोग पूरी तरह से फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाते हैं और बोलते हैं कि why should I keep having these reverses or failures in life, इसके पीछे क्या है, then your spiritual life begins. तो वो बिगिन करना है तो सही लोगों से पूछना है, राइट. भगवद गीता से पूछना है. Do you agree?
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for giving us such a beautiful. This 9 sections are very interesting. We learned a lot of life lessons. Whenever I cook, I submit my food to Lord Krishna's prasadam,
Very
and
nice.
it is divided among family members. As Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma paleshu tadasana ma karma palhe durguhu ma desa gurchakam. Do your duty, don't expect the results. So, as a mother, as a family member, so I have to do my duty and not expecting anything from others. This is what I learned.
Thank you.
And the spiritual journey is very close to our heart, and let it continue throughout our life.
Thank you so much. You already know so much. You please
Jivatma,
bless.
Paramatma will become one. Thank you.
Jivatma will always remain a servant of Paramatma. Yes, always remain a servant. This is our eternal prayer.
Also, we should curtail all our desires.
Or channelize all our desires to satisfy Krishna's desires.
And move towards Bhakti Marga.
Absolutely, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have to bless us.
God bless everyone. Let Krishna bless everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank you. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki jai.